1107, please?
I believe you said 1107, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I'm going to read the statement of notice. I hereby announce that pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been transmitted to the Asbury Park Press and the Trenton Times on October 23rd, 2025, posted on the Public Announcements Bulletin Board in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the Township Clerk. I'm going to do roll call. Committee Person Eric Davis. Eric. Okay.
I'm getting interference. Is anybody else getting one?
No.
No,
yes, I'm here.
Kathleen is doing roll call, Eric, and she called you.
Yes, I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Chris Morris.
Here.
Committee Person Tara Zabrowski.
Here.
Committee Person Jeff Ziner.
Present.
Mayor Alfaro.
Here.
Okay, all attendees and participants agreed to conduct themselves in a manner appropriate for public gathering. Individual speakers should be advised that no right of privacy protects a person's public comments made in a public forum. Accordingly, all participants bear responsibility for their own statements and commentary. Resolution 25-188, resolution of the Township of Millstone, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, to terminate all participation in the State Health Benefits Program, SHBP. That's on for a motion to adopt or table.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Do I have a motion to adopt the table, or do you want to have committee discussion?
I think we may need committee discussion prior.
Okay, if you have any questions, so any of the questions, because this is a public portion of the meeting, all questions need to be in general terms. Do not speak about contracts, personnel issues, or any other thing that is specific to the township. Zach, can you just be more specific from the legal perspective as to what somebody could ask and not ask, so we stay within compliance?
Oh, surely, yes. We just, as Al said, we just need to keep it more general rather than getting to the specifics as to any individuals, or if we're going to speak as to any specific contracts, specifically any of the union contracts here, we need to ensure that those were properly noticed prior. So at this point, if there are any questions generally regarding the resolution and the effect on the township or the township's generalized health insurance plans, that's acceptable, but not with regard to any specific individuals.
Thank you, Zach. So Jeff, let's start with your question. Let's see what you have.
So I was wondering if Melissa and or Kevin could just start with the processes, how we came to this decision.
Sure, I'll start with some dates. We knew we had a large increase in our insurance last year, and we knew this coming up year, the state was going to go up much higher. So we started reaching out to some people as early as March 17th of this year. And, you know, the first one we actually had spoke with was Atlantic Health, and they couldn't help us. So by June 10th, where you have a 2-year look back window, you could reach out to the state to get your experience, and all insurance companies had told us they're going to need that to be able to price our stuff accordingly. So we sent out to the state on June 10th a request for our last 2 years of experience. We did this a couple of years ago, and unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of other takers insurance that would take us because, you know, coming off the COVID or whatever it was, the experience wasn't that great. So they sent us the detail back on 6/28, but it didn't necessarily include all the prescription. That was mostly on medical. So on July 14th, we sent out to CBiz, which is kind of works with Sean Kelly as our insurance for the, you know, the township for the last numerous years, and the company he's affiliated with, to ask them for, you know, come up with some kind of pricing for us. And they actually came back, you know, so that was July 14th, we sent it to them, and they got back to us on October 20th. There's another company that was recommended, and we spoke to this gentleman, Fran. We sent it to him on the same day, the July 14th, and they actually got back to us 2 days ago. And unfortunately, that didn't even include the full amount for, they didn't include our retirees, which could be as much as 40% of our bill. he went to another company called Marsh McLennan on August 25th, and they responded to us earlier this month, October 6th, but there's still some final analysis or increases for 26 that we don't know. Originally, historically, they go up 1 to 3%. This year, we're hearing it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be maybe early, low double digits. So Melissa, in this piece of analysis that you got today, she included like kind of the worst case scenario on that.
Kevin, just let me stop you for a second. Zach, if there's any information that anybody is disclosing, which is, out of compliance for the public portion of the meeting, please stop them dead in their tracks and advise them not to move forward.
Not a
Okay.
problem.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, so with that, there's Melissa put a bit of analysis. I know it was last minute, but it was kind of what we've been working on, but we were really expecting to do this for next Wednesday meeting, so it would have been going to you the next day or so. So it was pulled together, but the state benefits is going up 36.9%, which is a huge increase. So we had looked at that and we said, right, we got to come up with some other options, and we have. And so there was one that was a group insurance, similar to it's a HIV, it's a health insurance similar to our GIF, where a bunch of towns throw in together and they come up with stuff, and they gave us some pricing, and that was in the line too. But out of it, the maximum out of pocket for somebody, an individual could be as much as $4,000. The state health is like more $400 if we stay with them, but the premium, everything was very, very expensive. And the Marsh McLennan had come up with something where you use what they call a difference card. So they call it a high cost
Deductible.
program. So instead of like a lot of people were in the state health with a $10 copay, this would be a high. And so with that, you get a lower premium, but the individual could have high, copays. So what we're doing is coming up with this thing called the difference card, where the town actually funds the card. So the employees go and, if they're in the lowest one with a $10 copay previously, they don't have to pay anything. If they have a medical that, you had to pay $100 towards the prescription, they don't have to pay anything. So all this, obviously the town has to pay more for this thing. And then what happens is if everybody maxes out, in theory, it could be, a lot of money, 300 something thousand. And so after the first deductible for individual or family, the township and the insurance carriers share the copays, the payouts. But it goes up to a maximum that we'd have to pay is like 300 something thousand, including in the insurance that we're paying. So individuals, it's basically the same health what we have now, which is the Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield. They don't pay deductibles, and the town is going to absorb any increase that it costs to pay for this thing. So the individuals aren't going to be, going to have an increased premium compared to the 36.9% that would have been if they stayed with the state. Is everybody
Okay.
with me?
Yep. So in reviewing this, how is this saving money for both the town and for the employees? If you could just quickly summarize that.
Melissa, you want to jump on this piece?
Sure. Well, the employee contribution with the state health benefits, everyone's contribution would be going up anywhere from approximately $1,200 to $5,000 for the year, because I would have to contractually take the obligated Chapter 78 out of everyone's pay, 26 pays. With Marsh McLennan, with the contribution, because it's a private, we are able to keep the contribution flat. So we would offer the employee a flat rate of the same rate of 2025, possibly, and go from there. So the employee would definitely be saving. With the difference card, obviously we've never gone through this before. So from my standpoint, it's more of a township budgeting issue. But the difference card does offer an insurance policy where we would, if we were, they estimate the claims on the difference card to be, around 74,000. I think, between Kevin and I and Jeff, we thought it was a little low. So we would probably want to budget a little bit higher, just to be comfortable. So they do offer an insurance plan that the insurance plan for 14,000 allows us, if we hit the 116,000 mark, they actually refund any claims after that. So say we hit the 116 in the difference card, July, although we still have to continue to pay the invoices, we would be refunded in February of the following year. And so in basic, anything over 116, the township would get returned to them. And obviously, being that it would be in the following year, that would go to the surplus towards 2028. So rather than knowing that, with state health benefits, we're paying that money out directly. And where with the difference card, we're paying a premium, but then the difference card is going to be a variable, but knowing that any money we don't spend will get returned to us.
Okay, so
From
next question from that, hold on, is Kevin was mentioning just previously about $306,000 we need to reserve for. Where does that come into play if our exposure is only 116?
So, well, that's if you choose, they show you your options. So if everyone was to max out, and that would mean every single and every married or family coverage maxes out to the total amount, the total would be 305. So that would be, after that, everything's covered 100%. But so you obviously want to keep some funds in reserve, because if we do hit that mark at, say, October or something, we at that point will still have to pay the invoice. So the money will need to be there to pay, because we get billed on it on a monthly basis. So the money would need to be there. I would not be able to over encumber the line item. So to be safe, we'd want to have some extra money in reserves. I don't know if we would necessarily budget the whole 305, but knowing that we did budget a little extra, again, it goes to surplus.
Okay, so for example, if we say we don't go to 305, we go to something less, what does that happen from an accounting and state perspective if we go over that number? So say, for example, it's 305 that's budgeted, our max exposure to, claims. What if we say we do 200?
Okay.
And we go over 200, how does that affect us penalty-wise or audit-wise with the state, just so that everybody's aware of that?
So penalty-wise, I'm not permitted to over encumber, but if we received an invoice and I had to, then that becomes, I would have to then budget in the next year's budget for that item 100%. But we would receive the funds in 2027 in February of anything that we went over on 116. So obviously, again, every November, I'm permitted to make a transfer. So if I had money somewhere else, I am permitted to do so. Again, I know it was discussed between the three of us that the estimated claims was 74,000, and they do offer the insurance policy. So I thought we agreed that would be the right, and then I would just, probably put extra funds just to support any overages that the township would have to pay.
Yeah, I think the insurance is, for that cost, it's like a no-brainer that we need to do that.
Okay, so just to make it clear, our exposure, max exposure from claims is 116,000. But due to accounting principles, we should put a little bit more than that in case we go over that during the fiscal year.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that from the TC?
I do. At the ceiling of the 305,000, that is the worst case scenario that, if everybody was to, I guess, submit the most amount of claims, health claims, the most amount that the township would be held responsible for is the 305,000, or is
Yes.
there like a variance that goes above and beyond that?
No, that number's capped because there's an out of pocket. So there's an out of pocket for single, and then there's the out of pocket for married / family. They're equal. So the 305 is maxing out for everyone. So that's the maximum. And then after that, their insurance, the Horizon would cover it 100%.
Okay, so that basically that 305,000 is the worst case scenario
Yes.
we could be put in.
You
Yes.
would almost need a pandemic or something like that for every employee to max out.
All right, so
Okay.
pandemics aside, the minimum exposure is 116-ish, give or take. So the question is, from a decisioning point from our perspective, do we want to stick with the 116 and over encumber? Do we want to do the 305, knowing that we have possibly extra funds that would be in surplus for the following fiscal year? Or do we want something in between?
I would definitely recommend something in between.
Well, if we are going to move forward with this, and that's a big if,
Mhm.
then the estimated cost was around 75,000, but we're putting in 116. Is that correct, Melissa?
We would be responsible, our claims could go up to, with the insurance, as up to the township would be responsible for paying is 116. The invoices could go above that, but we would get reimbursed from the insurance company in the following year for any amount over the 116.
Got it. Okay. Did you do any kind of forecast or analysis as to how much that potential increase above and beyond the 116 would be? So this way we could have something of substance to discuss and say, okay, is 10,000 enough to go above the 116, or is 30,000 enough to go above 116? So is there some sort of direction that you could give us on that?
Honestly, I always, health insurance, it's always a variable, because you never know what's going to happen during the year. So I probably would feel more comfortable probably putting an extra 75. I always budget insurance a little bit higher than what my actual number is, because if anybody gets married during the year,
Melissa, that's not the question Al is asking. The question Al is asking is, do we have any past history to look back on?
Unfortunately, we don't, because we've never done this before. We've paid a
That's
premium
the answer.
and everything's covered. So this would be a first time for the township to go this route.
It's actually something that the union, delegate is 3 years ago had zero interest in, if we were offering it, they didn't think it was going to be a good thing. But they have a lot of other towns that they use this and they're very happy with it. And he was actually recommending that we come up with something like that. Unfortunately, you don't know what the medical was going to happen to somebody or individuals or groups of individuals and stuff. So I think Melissa's idea of trying to be defensive by maybe throwing an extra 50, 75 grand on top of it. And, as we, next year, we have another year of experience of it. And we could kind of fine tune it or hone it up as we go along. But I think being in a defensive position like that is a good idea.
Melissa, can
makes
I
it-
ask you a question? So on the spreadsheet that we have, the MMA, the total township cost, the column that's a little over $1 million.
Yes.
So is that taking into account this extra money that we're putting in for this
That-
difference?
I've put in, so that actually is taking into consideration the additional, so I added an additional 15% premium to that number. And also added an additional 25,000 on top of the 116 and the insurance policy premium.
Okay, so it's actually the 116 and not the 305, which would be the maximum township, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And these numbers are still not finalized yet, I believe, Tara, because we're still waiting for the final round of numbers from the broker.
Terrence is the representative from Marsh McLennan.
Hi, Terrence, how are you? Can you talk a little bit about the policy as far as comparability between our existing state health plan and the plan that you're offering, please?
Absolutely, and thank you for inviting me to speak.
Terrence, just remember, we are on the record, so just.
Yes, thank you very much, Terrence Wall, VP with Marsh McLennan Public Entity. The plans would be equal to or better on the collective bargaining arrangement side. The Blue Cross Blue Shield coupled with the difference card would create a match to the plan for the employees of the Township of Millstone.
So you're saying whatever present coverages they have today, they'll be getting present coverages with this plan in the future?
Correct. It would match the plan and match the network. It's the exact same network.
So same doctors, same coverage with prescriptions, all that kind of stuff?
Yes, it would actually be no copays because the difference card would fund that $10 copay as well. It's essentially Direct 10 goes to Direct 0 for the purposes of administration, for employee satisfaction.
Okay, great. Anybody have questions on the TC regarding this?
I do. In your proposal, Mr. Ward, Wall, is there a clause in there for any kind of increases from year 1 to year 2? Or I haven't seen it, so I'm asking blindly, just to understand if there's going to be increases in costs from, the first year to the second year to the third year, depending on the, contract duration.
That's a fantastic question, and there's this program is with the under 50 market with Blue Cross Blue Shield, which includes small businesses that are up to 50 employees. So the trend on health insurance increases on this particular block or pool, because the Township of Millstone is not alone. If you have high claims, you're not going to experience high increases because of your individual claims. You're with the small business pool that New Jersey has that Blue Cross Blue Shield has. The trend has been about 9% or so over the past few years. They don't offer multi-year, pardon me for a moment. They don't offer multi-year rate guarantees. None of the carriers do in this our group size. But the public sector, the demographics in public sector utilization is typically much higher than the private sector. So you should be seeing sub 10% increases. We just did the renewal this morning with the Township of Colts Neck, John and Tonadi's. Feel free to reach out to Colts Neck. They're coming in under 10%, although they're a self-funded program, even though they're only 40 employees. So in short, you should have single-digit increases, although nobody can guarantee it. I say that because you're in the private business pool, the block of business with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And separate from that, we always 3 months out from renewal, we go out to market. We're agnostic on, we just want to make sure it's the best for any municipality. So we'll go out to the full market and prepare an analysis about 3 months in advance, including the monthly reporting we do, so you can see how your plan is performing over time. So you have full transparency and you're able to plan well ahead of time, from my perspective, than for many other programs and folks that are in this space.
Terrence, I got two quick ones. The old policy, like the Direct 10, you didn't have to get referrals. That carries on with the Horizon again?
It's another great question. So yes, no referrals, it's non-gated. The match is actually a match. It's not a match except for this or a match except for that. It's a non-gated program, which is what the collective bargaining folks, the employees would expect and demand according to their agreements. There are no, so it's a non-gated program, meaning you don't need a referral to go to an orthopedic, a cardiologist, and things of that nature. And there are no pre-existing conditions. If someone's undergoing care right now, that's perfectly fine. It's guaranteed issue. Any current condition is covered. By moving on January 1st, you avoid having to do, like, for example, if you're looking at February or March, it's more cumbersome in that you have deductible credits and copay credits, because folks may need it in January. We would have all of it credited, but if it's starting January 1, it's a fresh start. So it would match from day one, and no, there are no additional referrals or included. And frankly, they haven't saved money as far as an industry. The referral systems haven't been a cost saver in industry regardless. It would be the same Blue Cross network. If you're seeing an orthopedic now, it's the same orthopedic, and it's the same process.
Okay, so Terrence, I'm not sure if you're able to answer this question or not, but where are we on the process on your side to verify and finalize the numbers?
Blue Cross and United and the other carriers, they have filed their rates with the state. The rates are all approved, and the Department of Banking and Insurance have also issued the paperwork. What they're doing now is loading them into the systems. We frankly anticipated, meaning all the brokers, anticipated these rates being up and running already. They're required by law to have them out 60 days before January. The timing that's frustrating for clients and brokers is that it syncs with the date that you need to send in the withdrawal notice from the state health benefits plan, because it's literally on the same day. So we're daily in contact with the carrier to have these rates out. The typical increment is about 3% if you move from December to January, but we want to make sure that everyone's fully informed, and our understanding is that they're having that it's going to be more than the typical increment. So in short, as soon as we have the number, you'll have the number, but they're 100% in the market. This is the small business block of business. So for them to, for example, not be in the market, they'd have to cancel all their small group cases across the state. Just not, it's not happening. The issue is it a 3% or 4 or 5% increment, or will it be more? And that's why it's important on the conservative side to budget accordingly. And if we don't know. We should know shortly. If we don't know today, we'll know tomorrow or Monday latest. And there's a timing issue it's frankly unfair to municipalities, because you want to have the exact dollar figure. So that's why you want to develop a cushion, so your savings may be a little bit lower, but it will still be substantial from the state renewal.
I have several questions, Mr. Wall, if I may. You compared the state health benefits program to this plan that you guys are proposing, and it's an exact apple for apple comparison?
The plan coupled with the difference card, they are an approved vendor with the state health benefits plan with the New Jersey Division of Pensions and Benefits. They're an approved vendor to affect the match that we would have in effect. So the plan itself, the Blue Cross program, that does not match from a copay and deductible standpoint to the Direct 10. The difference card, as you can infer, pays the difference, so it matches the contract and matches the plan. That is where the match is put in place, and this has been used throughout the state for a number of municipalities, and organizations such as the PBAs and the other collective bargaining units are well familiar with it, and in many cases recommend it.
Okay, so other than the difference card that we are going to need to fund, are all of the benefits that are going to be afforded to our employees the same?
Coverages.
All
You're
better.
asking about coverages.
Uh, Yes, the health insurance, the plan will match according to the equal to or better than language. I sent draft language over, which is typically what the collective bargaining folks would look for to assure their members that all of the benefits that they negotiated for remain intact and
Okay.
according to their contract.
Okay, thank you. Now, the quote that you sent, Kevin and Melissa, and I don't know who else have seen it, is that a finalized exact quote based on our employees and our situation? Or
Yes.
is that number subject to change?
No, that is exact to Millstone Township based on the current census. We also address the retiree issue as well to make sure that all of the folks that the township is providing benefits for are covered, of course, as you would expect. That is for a 12-1 rate, and the initial estimate was there would be an increment of approximately 3% for 1-1, and that we're waiting for that number. That number may be 13% or 9% or what have you, which is, still substantially lower than the state. But we like to make sure that you have the most current information. I was hearing there are different issues in the market: GLP-1 drugs, gene therapy, and other things. Hospital mergers have increased costs about 14%. Some of the data shows, and a lot of the out-of-network charges have skyrocketed some of the experience for different groups. Blue Cross, as an example, they eliminated the availability to groups to have an out-of-network plan in Ocean County because they're having tremendous claim problems in Ocean County. So Ocean County municipalities and Ocean County municipality I'm working with right now, we're using United Healthcare Oxford because they have the out-of-network availability. So we can't match the Blue Cross network. Um, uh, so so yes, that quote is tailored to Millstone. It's a December 1st quote. We're simply waiting for the increment to have it for July 1st, as many brokers are across the state right now for their municipalities. Because the challenge is, do you have it synced up to 1-1, or do you end up having significant costs borne by the employees by waiting? And so so I hope that answers your question about that quote is 12-1, simply waiting for them to release the 1-1, and it'll be some degree higher. Typically, it's a couple percent a month, and then that rate is locked in for 12 months.
Okay, so if I understand what you said, there is going to be a minimum of a 3% increase from 12-1 to 1/1/26, but the increase as of January moving forward is not known at this point in time. Is that what you're saying?
The January 1 rate is not, it may be known today, tomorrow, latest Monday, but it's not known at this moment. No.
Okay, so the December 1st numbers, you've built in a 3% raise, correct?
No, that the December 1st numbers are December 1st. For example, if you started December 1st, those are your numbers. If you chose to notify the state that you're leaving and you leave in December and you don't, that's a legal question about what you do with the December invoice from the state plan. Some towns are considering whether they're leaving December 1st, and what they're doing with that invoice may be something different, because the 60 days is not actually reasonable if you can leave in 30 days. So the December 1st rate is valid if you chose to start December 1st, which you can, but you have the outline, the other issue of the state health benefits plan and their December premium payment, even though you weren't there anymore. So that's firm for December 1st. That's a firm number. If it's January 1, they increase incrementally the rates as the year goes on. Actually, for the small group size, it's quarterly. So January, April, 4 times a year. And so we wanted to give a conservative estimate to your administrative team for budgeting purposes, and that's where that lands.
So what is that preliminary number going to go up in January? Is that 3%, 4%, and that's going to carry over for the rest of the 3 quarters?
Traditionally, it had been in the low single digits, but as I had mentioned and communicated, the information as I was hearing it is that they are having high claims experience in New Jersey on, as many folks are reading about. So my suggestion was to budget a higher number, even in the teens, to be on the cautious side of the budget, so we can, and also to manage expectations, because I share the information from Blue Cross with clients as I get it. And the rates that they filed, they have not released them to the brokers yet, or I'd have the exact rates. But, I was a BA in 4 towns. I was acting CFO in 2 towns. It's very important to budget conservatively. So I wanted to share with your team that there should be an additional consideration if we don't get the numbers in time, which as of this conversation right now, we don't have those numbers. That we're really waiting for them to come out imminently, because they are approved. The state approved them already.
Okay, so I'm still a little confused about your answer. So let's say we pull the trigger, we go January 1st.
Okay.
That number that you quoted is going to go up by 13%,
Yeah,
15% for the quarter?
Al, the number on the sheet that Melissa put down to 1,067 includes a 15%.
15. But my question is that for the year or is that for the quarter? Because Mr. Wall said for the quarter.
No, that's for the year. That say 15%, which I'd say is fair and conservative. That will stay the same for 12. That's locked in for 12 months.
Okay, but it gets installed quarterly, is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying for groups that are not with this program, each quarter for new business, not existing business, you would be existing business. If you join January 1, for following quarters, the businesses or municipalities that are getting rates, they would see the increases, not you. You have a lock for 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you're locked in for 12 months.
Okay. And you mentioned something that maybe triggered another question for me. You said this particular plan that you're proposing does not have an out-of-network component?
No, it does. Yes, it is out of network. It matches your plan. It's in network, out of network. What I was sharing is that there's a high deductible plan that is funded by the difference card. So I'm saying in Ocean County in January, they eliminated the direct access network. You're in Monmouth County. So
Yeah.
Monmouth County Blue Cross is available. In Ocean County, it's not. So that gives you an idea of the dynamics with healthcare. It's a challenging environment with gene therapy and a number of different drivers with insurances. So no, you have out of network, you have it with Blue Cross. In Ocean County, they eliminated their out-of-network access plan. So it has no bearing on you. I'm just sharing just how this business is changing very quickly.
Got
Ocean
it. Got it.
County does not have, they have the HMO and the Omnia product for Blue Cross Blue Shield, but Blue Cross is apparently taking a beating on the out-of-network claims in Ocean County. So they're not offering, it's pretty unusual really targeting one county, but they're not offering that out-of-network in January for all groups that are 50 and under.
Got it.
Not you. It doesn't impact you at all.
Okay. And the plan that you're proposing has both the medical and the hospital together?
It's comprehensive. Yeah, comprehensive. Both. Yeah, it's major medical, comprehensive, in network, out of network, doctors, hospitals. X-rays,
Okay.
everything.
And I have one last question, then I'll leave it for the other committee members if they have. Let's say we were going to pull the trigger on this and move forward. What is the processing time to switch from the plan that we have our employees on now to this plan until it's complete and all employees are covered under this new plan? What does that process take? Could you just elaborate on what you have to do on your side and dealing with a municipality? Obviously government works a little bit slower than corporate and professionals. So please tell us that process.
As soon as you pass a resolution appointing us, we'll be in there the next day. We have all the documents and that, it's basically an employer application and the employees all sign an application. It's just boom, boom. It's actually very quick. So if you If you withdraw from the state today, if you pass a resolution appointing us, even if you're saying, hey, we're moving forward, we'll just start the process. I'll have the paperwork done by next week. Employees and the dependents, they'll have all the information in their mailboxes before January 1. There's plenty of time, well in advance. And we also do group meetings, individual one-on-one with unions if needed. Oftentimes PBA is a key driver of the conversation. They're very well trained on negotiations and also plan design. Those meetings are usually very, very productive. But in short, we have all the information to the employees, everything before the beginning date. 2 months is actually more than what's needed. We would come in next week and start the process.
Okay, so that brings up the small conundrum from what I see. We basically have the next less than 48 hours to tell the state plan that we're opting out if we want to start on January 1, whereas the coverage, the new coverage, is not finalized yet. So is the township exposed to potential CBO grievance until the new plan is in place? Are you aware of anything of that nature?
If you ask me my opinion, it's no. The collective bargaining folks, they have their own attorneys typically, but Blue Cross asks yeah, you're not required, but if you have your updated, you can initial the 12/1 dates if you want to send that in, or you could just send in the resolution that goes along with it. A municipality in Ocean just did a withdrawal from the state plan and did their appointment, but they did not send in the plan that they're going with. They're still working on it. It's throughout the state, there are many municipalities having similar Zoom meetings today, where they're deciding whether they want to have it kind of jumbled up for January and the employees start paying and they start February or March and that kind of thing, or they get the process started. And it's certainly not, it's not perfect, but basically they're withdrawing from the state, they're appointing their broker of choice, and then subsequently they're sending in their documentation. I've seen both. If you could send in the proposal that's on, like my recommendation would be, if you want, you send in the December and the difference card proposals. They want to make sure that there's something moving forward, but they're still going to terminate. So it's important to have your platform ready, whether you have a meeting today and you have another quick meeting on Tuesday or Wednesday. I've seen that as well. Every municipality runs differently, but if that helps answer the question, you don't have to have the agreement sent in today, or rather tomorrow. I know there are many municipalities that aren't, but if you wanted to use the program, the only thing we would be doing is changing the effective date to 1/1. So everything else in its particulars is accurate. The census data, the structure, the difference card, the structure there, it's all the same. It's simply moving
So
from 12/1
Jeff,
to 1/1.
yeah, Jeff, so I assume that, Terrence is gonna have the finalized numbers, hopefully within 24 hours. And then we could have this, on the agenda for Wednesday's meeting, and if you guys have any follow-up questions between now and then regarding, our proposed, plan.
No. Okay, so we need to tell the state by tomorrow if we're opting out, because my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is the 60-day countdown starts once you tell the state you opted out.
Correct. And so
So
we have
so
to
if
have that
we
within
wait
December.
hold on, if we wait till November 1st to tell the state, or whenever we finalize this with Terrence, we're going to be having to pay a January premium to the state.
Yes.
Just clarify, Chris Lowry's the state rep. I've known him for decades. Great guy. He has a special email. It goes to the state, but he also asks that things are just emailed directly to him, where he's with Blue Cross Blue Shield. He runs the state health benefits plan process for the state, for Blue Cross Blue Shield. All he needs is the resolution from the state in its appropriate format.
You mean from the municipality?
That's correct. And if you so if you follow on with your Blue Cross difference card documentation, your plan matching documentation, that's okay. That because I could tell you there'd be dozens and dozens of towns in violation if it wasn't okay. That's what they're doing. And I could also get a confirmation from, actually, I already have one from him. He said they prefer that everything is in one package, but it's not mandatory. And I could certainly give you, black and white on that from Chris. He's a little busy right now, but the main item they're looking for is the resolution withdrawing, and that's one that is time sensitive. And so I'm encouraging all the groups, to try not to wait, because they are very strict on it. You don't want to have to reverse engineer it. It's not attractive. It was done, in Jackson, and it's just very cumbersome and frustrating to employees. So you want to, be timely on that particular document. The other pieces can follow.
Zach, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, it's my question also.
Yeah, I do. Regardless of, Mr. Wall's representations, the law is very clear that the township has an obligation to utilize the document and the resolution furnished by the state itself. The document furnished by the state on the second page requires notice as to which new carrier will be that the township will be signing up with regard to their new health insurance plan, if they are in fact terminating their participation in the state health benefits plan. While Mr. Wall might have some representations from the state, the law in the administrative code is fairly clear that the township's obligation is to complete the entire resolution.
And I absolutely respect the attorney's comment on that. The way you can facilitate that is to send in send in the rates and the difference card contract. What you'd be amending is the 1/1 date. So absolutely defer to counsel and his sage advice. I was just sharing what I see in the field.
So I guess the bottom line is there any exposure from the town, say, if we pass this resolution this morning, this afternoon?
Exposure with regard to liability, with regard to non-compliance with state requirements?
All the above.
Okay.
What is our net exposure if we do this today, but we don't have, well, we know what the new carrier is. We just don't know what the rate of the new carrier is. We know the date would be assumption of 1/1 that we would start.
Well, obviously, I can't speak to the net potential here. However, in general, with regard to potential liability, look, there is no plan in place at this point. There is no signed contract between the township and a new carrier. There is a potential that there is no health insurance for a specific period of time, which is an issue. Further than that, with regard to the state, I can't tell you.
So
I would
is it
just share-
possible? Is it possible to appoint him now?
Yeah, I was going to say the risk, if you withdraw from the state, they will terminate the plan effective 1/1. They're not going to and Jackson was actually their experiment in trying to re-engineer it. So the risk is, or exposure, whichever word we want to utilize, the risk is if the governing body doesn't take action, and it may sound silly, but if action is not taken to put the new plan in place or to pass the resolutions, to further that, the risk would be the risk would be if you don't act to put the plan in place for January. So I'm just sharing with you, the one caveat is when you send that into the state, it's not something that is pulled back with any ease. Normally when you have insurance, if you're doing something different and it doesn't work out that well, you pay the premium on the one that you have in place. That's what a normal, reasonable, prudent person would think if something changed. In this particular case, the risk or exposure is, and if there's a failure to act to put the next plan in place, be it what's laid out in front and appointing Marsh McLennan or some other derivation or iteration that the governing body, felt confident with, they do issue the termination notices to the employees in about a month or so, and all those things happen. So I'll give you an example. If you had a broker that shared that, you say you had 60 employees, active employees, and you had 10 waivers, and so it said 50. Well, you're technically in the 50 plus market. So that would be a technical issue that the broker didn't get right, as an example. And if your claims were sky high, well, there may not be a market for you. So that would be an exposure. I'm just giving a different example. In your case, you're well within the definition. But you want to make sure you act for the next piece, which in this case, if you felt that it had value and the representations made sense, that's what's in the Blue Cross with the difference card matching the contract.
Okay, so one more question. Assuming we move forward with everything, what is the timeline for us to settle? Do you believe how long it will take for the new plan to be all finalized? And I would also include Zach in that for what his legal review of it would be also.
I was 2 weeks, and I work in partnership with municipal attorneys, hand in hand, and make sure that it's consistent with what the direction is of the Township of Millstone. But to have we sign the applications, they go into the carrier, we get an approval. It may be less than 2 weeks, but we get an approval and a policy number, like a policy number and an ETA, and they move quickly. If it was a month out, we would make sure the employees have everything also in their mailboxes, or if they have children that maybe are in school out of state, make sure they have what they need wherever they need it. But I would say 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. And just to reaffirm, everybody is covered until basically December 31st, 2025 with our existing plans.
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's all I have.
I got a quick question, team. If we decided we weren't moving forward now because we need more due diligence time to see the numbers, have legal review, and we ended up having to pay the premium in January, what is the cost of that premium?
That's a Melissa question.
Oh. I'm sorry, is that for me?
I think it's more for Melissa or Kevin to try to, and the point is, what are we leaving on or off the table, that would have a cost impact to us rather than, taking advantage of the savings now, which looks like, provide the numbers come in where we're all saying it sounds and looks great, but until we see it, it's difficult, I think, for anybody on this call to, just say 100% yes, but there could be an additional cost that would be difference between what we would have paid to the state and if we went to the new plan. So do we know what that number is?
Yes, the difference that I provided to the mayor yesterday was 23,000. We'll be paying first to continue in state health benefits in January.
I believe, what, about 6 or 7 of that comes out of the employees, right?
Yes, that's with the contribution. The contribution for the month would be close to 14,000. So the premiums actually, we would be paying to Horizon 107,000 for active and retirees, and then after the 2 pays in January, the contributions 14,000 would go back, which comes to 93,000. So the overage is about 23 from the other plan.
And you have to duplicate the work.
Yeah, that was my next one.
So when we decided on a new plan, based upon, we would have to, because all those numbers have to get into the payroll system, so they're consistent. So we would have to go back in and change everyone's numbers.
And the employees, just to clarify, would have to pay the additional deductibles if we stay in January, won't they?
Yes, because the township's responsible for paying the Chapter 78 contribution, which is based upon salary, what step they're in, and what percentage they pay. So, and then depending upon with raises, everything changes because everyone's steps could possibly change accordingly also. So that could also change their contribution.
Okay, so do we know what the extra contribution per employee is roughly? A range?
Well, it's on top of the additional 36% on top of their 2025 contribution. So if they were paying, if they paid 1,800 in 2024, they're paying about 26 in 2025. They're paying about 26.
And that's not something they get back in any way, shape, or form, right?
No.
I have some questions and I apologize. I'm having terrible interference, so I'm not hearing everything that's being said. But just to confirm, the number you quoted, the 1067, that includes a 15% potential increase over the December number. Is that what you said?
Yes, originally when we spoke with Terrence, they had given us the 5-year actually history of the changes within the premiums. And it was anywhere, it was roughly around 1.5%. So, we had, Terrence and I had talked on the phone, and as through all my phone calls, I'm more of a conservative. So, I wanted to plan accordingly. So I had said, realistically, I'd rather plan on the high side, which was originally I was going to add in 3%. And then we were notified a couple days ago that it possibly could be more than that, which is why I built in a 15% additional premium to the numbers that were provided from MMA.
Right. So including that, we're still about a 15% decrease over the proposed rates, renewal rates from the state. That's the way it looks like.
Yes, slightly more. It's almost 20%.
Okay. What is the role of the union as part of going through this process? My understanding is there has to be some sort of union ratification and approval of whatever plan we go with.
I can share with you, Terrence here. No, it's an administrative prerogative. If you're matching coverages equal to or better, that does not require a union vote. I defer to labor attorney, but I've been through a couple dozen of these types of agreements over the years. Now it matches the network. That's usually a sticking point, but even changing networks, which we've done in a number of municipalities, is an administrative decision. Although you want to communicate, transparently with the folks. I just want to make sure I shared with you that there is no union ratification required.
Yeah, so Eric, we're actually going to be using the same, provider, and the employees don't have to pay any the co-pays. So and not looking at a 36.9% increase if we stayed with the current, plan. So I don't think, I've forwarded over to the union rep, and two of the delegates were on the email that we were looking to kind of go this route. I didn't give them the name of the provider, which they would have today now, with this meeting. But and I didn't hear any opposition at all.
Yeah, Kevin, could you just get some written feedback that they read it?
Yeah, well, we're kind of waiting for this meeting here, and then I'd be glad to have a meeting with him or share it with him and get, as you said, that there's no, there's 36.9% increases if we stay where we are. The employees are not going to share that if we give the 60-day notice, and there will be no co-pays going forward, and you got, the same coverage. I can't imagine there'll be any issues at all. I think they're all expecting a fairly large increase in their costs. I think they're going to be delighted.
What is the administrative process using this difference card?
Each employee gets it's a Visa card, and they just use that as their card. They can store it in their iPhone like they would for their health insurance, or their Android, or just they all receive as many cards as they need in their family. And also we have an Engage platform, so they can load Marsh McLennan. They have different companies. They're the largest broker in the world. They own various companies. One is called Engage. So each employee will also have all their programs, vision, dental, medical, everything on an app, for their iPhone or Android, or it could be desktop, where they can readily access for transactions at the doctor's office. They just use the card.
So the doctor's office accepts the card as payment, or that's a reimbursement, or the covered employee has to pay, and that's a reimbursement program.
No, they should take the card, and if they get an invoice in the mail, they would use that for the invoice.
So can I
But the
just ask,
doctor, yeah, they're
ask a
seeing this
question?
more and more, sorry.
Can I ask a question off that? So it's, is it like an HSA plan? Like, is there actually money on there? Or you're saying they just use the money and then the town gets the bill for the difference? Is that what we're saying?
A great question. It's not an HSA, it's an HRA, which is called Health Reimbursement Arrangement, this is just for this type of purpose. And you'll see will be reports monthly. What I've found in the reports is that the utilization, the budgeted expense usually comes in far, far better. But of course, you don't know until you know. But it's a HRA. It's not funded that way. It's an account, separate account that is be through the finance office, but it's not something that is a budgeted amount that you use each. It's not a flexible spending account or a health savings account. It's a funding arrangement to facilitate matching the parts that don't match to the formal Blue Cross plan.
So really, there's no money on that card that all the employees are getting. So they're using it, say they have $50 they have to pay on this card. They swipe the card. There's really no money on that card.
There's
What
no
happens
money.
is you get a total bill, the town, at the end for everybody that used their swipe card that month for the difference. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's processing all those claims via the card?
The difference card is they've been in business many, many years. They are, and they have an approved vendor with the state health benefits for their high deductible plan. So it's a card that's very, very well known on the municipal side. Many municipalities, some are keeping the state health benefits, taking a sky high program, even though it's expensive, and keeping the difference card. It's just it's a very expensive way to do it, but the difference card is in place. And
all right, so let's be clear. You go to the doctor's office, it's a $50 copay. You hand them the card, they accept that as payment.
Yes.
But ultimately they wait for payment from the difference card.
It swipes through. How it's auto adjudicated, that's a little more technical. That I don't know if the difference card rep, Zach is our rep. I could certainly facilitate a meeting with him, but they adjudicate it on their technology is greatly improved over the years. And it's adjudicated on the back end with the payment systems with the providers.
Got it. Okay. And the quote that the 1,067,000 number, Melissa, has a 50% budget increase, and that includes the difference card, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Terrence, you have a census from the town of all employees and birthdays and all that?
Yes, it was tailored precisely to the Township of Millstone, active employees and retirees.
So I just
Last
noticed.
question I have is, for our attorney. So it's being proposed potentially submit the document with the plan effective December 1st. Why don't we decide some reason to change carriers in between that time? Can we do that? And how does that impact us with the state?
To be honest, I think you just have to send a new resolution, just alerting the state that you've changed carriers since then. However, I'm having trouble understanding what's being proposed with regard to signing up for the December 1st date while also complying with the state requirements for this resolution with regard to amending to a new date. I'm not sure how that resolves the issue. If Terrence can espouse on that.
Yeah.
Since it was his suggestion.
Yeah, again, deferring to the attorney, but what I'm seeing out in the field and what municipalities are doing across the state, they're approving the withdrawal to the state plan and just getting it in. We're implementing a municipality in Ocean County. They passed a resolution withdrawing from the state health benefits plan. They are appointing Marsh McLennan next week. So the CFO is typically has some authority to sign off on documents and things of that nature to affect transitions, depending on the municipality and the resolutions. And part of my lens is years ago, I served 9 years on a township committee. So I look at things from that side of the table as well to make sure that it's something that's in good form. But I could just, there are many, I'm suggesting how you get to where you want to go with an agreement. If you amend I can certainly email Chris Lowry. I'm happy to do that and get some clarity. But I'm just sharing with what I'm seeing in the industry as far as what municipalities are doing right now.
Just to clarify, are you saying that a lot of municipalities that you've seen are just simply not complying with the administrative code requirement?
I'm not saying they're non-compliant. I'm simply saying that they are sending in terminations to the state plan and subsequently approving their plan. A very large municipality just yesterday morning approved getting out of the state plan. They approved the broker of choice, and they did not approve a resolution for the new plan. So if there's non-compliance, it's statewide. And so again, I'm not saying the attorney's inaccurate. I'm sure you're quite accurate, but I'm sharing what municipalities are doing. What's happening with municipalities is very unfair. So I think that it feels a bit forced, but that's because the state has a massive increase, a 60-day notice, and some rate structures that are not quite ripe yet. And I think it's really not a fair position for everyone involved, including brokers, frankly. So my resolution to that question would be, you have a proposal, you have the difference card is effective 1/1. That is, your contract to match is the difference card for 1/1. And so that's a contract. Blue Cross, that proposal is a firm proposal for 12/1. On Monday or tomorrow or today, we'll have hopefully the exact number, but we don't know. And so my obligation is to share what the facts are so you can judge accordingly.
Zach, can I ask you a question? Is there a potential for the state to not accept this if we turn this paperwork for removal from the state plan without that second page filled out? And if they don't accept it, what happens? We have to stay in their plan for the next coming year?
That potentially could be the issue. I can say that there haven't been many, Office of Administrative Law cases regarding this specific issue. So I haven't seen actually the way that the state has resolved issues like this that have come up in the past. However, if the administrative code requires that we furnish the resolution that was furnished by the division, and we don't furnish a resolution that was furnished by the division, it technically could be rejected for noncompliance. I can't say that we couldn't fight that, or that there could be other arguments being made. But at the same time, our obligation is to utilize the resolution that's furnished by the state.
Well, one alternative would be, and I've worked in this area for over 20 years, would be if you choose to pass the resolution, we immediately send it to Chris Lowry at the State Health Benefits, copy your attorney and the mayor, the committee, the folks that you direct us to copy. So he can opine, and if there's anything that he finds that is insufficient, it could be cured, or you can address it. You could even perhaps pass a resolution that provides the administration, if in the event they find that it's not in correct form or format and not accepted by the State Health Benefits Plan, that is deemed void. As an example, I'm trying to kind of connect the two pieces, because you do have time challenges, which are unfortunate that the state put them out that way. So that may be of some help. We can turn an answer around immediately after, if you consider passage, with the fellow who runs that area, and he can quickly send an answer back to Zach.
Okay, so then that's my next question to Zach. Can we modify the resolution to do what he says? And then if it's not accepted?
And have it relate back. In this context, I couldn't give you an affirmative yes or no on that. I'm sorry.
I could just share, I have every confidence that if you send in your resolution and you subsequently choose your plan, that you will not have a problem. That is what I'm seeing industry-wide. But again, it's a decision for the governing body. You're given some timeframes which are not fair. They're from the State Health Benefits Plan. And if there's anything I, certainly can do to help address the concerns, can certainly happy to do that. I'm here at your pleasure.
Hey, Terrence, it's Chris again. Just based on your experience for the towns that are doing this, right? I have to assume they're under the same time constraints. So
Yes.
do they not have their final numbers and they're just, going on good faith that that's where it's going to be? I'm just trying to figure out how they're making that decision a little easier than maybe this team is.
Right. Yes, there are other municipalities, one in Ocean Township, I'm sorry, not Ocean County, that I'm going to see after a meeting that I'm at now, that is similarly situated, and the numbers we're waiting for are from United Healthcare, because they have the out-of-network, opportunity. They are also filed approved with the state Department of Banking and Insurance, gave their stamp of approval, and we're just waiting for those. There are a number of what are called master general agents that handle the small group side throughout the state, and the software and the rates are being loaded into the systems, and as soon as they're live, those dates will be finalized. I find it a little curious that Blue Cross is waiting. The timing is very curious to me, frankly. I think they're getting a lot of folks that are moving out of the state and into small group Blue Cross. That's just an observation of mine. I don't know, but I can't speak to why they don't have it live yet. But so the answer is yes, other small groups are doing the same thing.
Thank you. Look, I'll speak for me. I guess, listen, without having the final numbers, right? Everything else sounds great, right? We're providing similar, better benefits at a lower cost with no out of pocket, wonderful. It's a win-win for everyone involved. But, it's a little risky, right, on our part to approve something that we don't really have in front of us, right? Not that we don't believe you, not that we don't believe Kevin and Melissa, that they're all trying to do the right thing. At the end of the day, doesn't impact us, really impacts the employees, right? But the five of us are here to protect them. Zach's doing a good job of trying to manage, our expectations and our risk level, but it sounds like we still don't really know when those numbers will be released.
Well, if I may just chime in, a couple of things to consider. The numbers, from what I understand, are being inserted into the systems.
Yeah.
More than likely, within the next 48 to 72 hours, they'll probably be released to whoever needs them.
Yeah, the numbers are approved.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought. If we're looking for the employee's best protection, delaying this would cost them additional post-deduction pay in January. So I'm sure they will not be happy about that, considering February, they can't get that money back. So we're hurting the employees if we don't enact now. The numbers that Melissa have together right now are very conservative, probably maybe a tad higher than probably what the numbers are coming in. So we're probably looking at a scenario of a worst case. Numbers may come in a little bit better. Great if they do. But the numbers that Melissa has right now, I would say, would be fairly representative to what the final numbers would be once they're all in the system. I don't see as much risk because the state put us into this bind, the whole state, they put this into the bind, that they didn't get the numbers out to the public until literally this past week. I don't know how they expect municipalities to react this quickly. This is very similar to how the state is messing up with the COA environment that we went through just recently. The state is really being not fair to the League of Municipalities or municipalities in general. The potential exposure of filing this today, saying we're out, and within let's give it 3 weeks that we finalize a new plan, is still well within the January 1st calendar where everything needs to be done, finalized, rubber stamped, etc. So my view is that this is all positive for both the town and the employees. And we should not necessarily wait and hurt the employees if we go past October 31st. That's my summarization.
I have a question for Zach. If this resolution gets passed today, and I'm not pointing any direction, if it does, would you be comfortable submitting a plan on page 2 of this resolution to the state and say, this is what we're looking at? We have not finalized it yet to satisfy that compliance issue?
I can't speak to my comfortability level. I represent the town, so it's about the town's comfortability. However, I will point out on the second page of the resolution, it says the type of funding method with the new contract. So it's assumed that there's a contract involved here.
That would be fully insured.
So,
You would check fully insured.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
You would check fully insured button. It's not a self-funded plan, it's a fully insured plan.
Where is that? Oh, okay, hold on.
I'm sorry, I don't have it in
don't-
front of me.
I don't see it. Oh, yeah.
Is it under other? I don't see it on here, fully insured.
Oh, it's just the plan type. I don't have it in front of me, but the plan type is similar to what you have now. You pay a premium. There's not self-funded. It's not, it's not, it's a similar structure to the state plan. It's just not, in terms of fully insured. But I don't have it in front of me, but those are simple checklist items that get sent in.
So the checklist items is new healthcare center, new prescription drug center, new dental plan center, reason for termination.
Right. So that's
Also
what I'm saying.
conventionally insured, minimum
Oh,
premium.
yeah, I'm sorry, conventionally insured, fully insured. That's what they mean. Conventional, like typical conventional fully insured plan. So I'm sorry, it's conventional.
Okay.
All right. So Zach, with that information, are you comfortable moving forward by checking that box and filling in all of these other, or putting in, other information into these boxes?
Again, it doesn't have to do with my comfortability. However, I will point out, it says contract. Right now, as far as from what I'm hearing, I haven't seen any contract. That hasn't come across my desk for me to review. I haven't seen a proposal. So, whether the town is in the position to fill that out, I'll defer that to you. But at this point, I haven't seen a contract that we can refer to with regard to new contract.
That's fine. The contract will come within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
But the question is, are we at risk if we sent this in without the second page completed?
Look, the way this is being described at the state level, every municipality is going to be doing it this way. The state put the squeeze on municipalities for no damn reason.
Well, that's typical.
I know that's typical. So we're not acting in void. We're acting in aggressiveness to get this thing done. If we were acting in void, then yeah, I would be, not supporting this at all. It's because we're being, negligent in our responsibilities.
No, we're actually the opposite, Jeff.
That's what I'm saying.
We're doing our due
aggressive.
diligence under the time constraints that the state has imposed, which is unfair, like they do quite often.
Yep.
And we're trying to protect the employees as best we can. But, doing that, possibly puts us in a precarious situation. That's all.
So it says, please submit a copy of the new contract with the completion of this. It doesn't say you must.
On page 3 at the bottom, it says in accordance with NJSA 18A 16-21 and 48-10-25. You must file a copy of your new contract with the State Health Benefits Commissioner or School Employees Health Benefits Commission.
That's fine, but there's no time window. It just says you must file a new contract.
And that would be well in advance of when it actually takes effect.
Correct.
There is, Jeff. You didn't let me finish. It says, please submit a copy of the new contract with this completed resolution. That's why there's no time frame, because they want you to submit the contract when this resolution is approved. It says it right there in black and white.
That's fine. So it comes 2 weeks later.
If you guys are okay with it, then if nobody else has any other questions.
Yeah, being devil's
All right, my,
advocate.
my last
even if-
question was, I have one last question. So again, if we submit this, so right now in front of us is the resolution leaving that section blank. That's what we're voting on at the moment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Being devil's advocate, even if Marsh McLennan came in with a 30% increase, we do have other options to, to use. That'll be still a lot cheaper than the state proposed.
I guess that was my
And
other
I don't see
question.
that
My other
I don't see that happening though either.
That was my other question. So if we were to submit a subsequent to this a plan, but we change our mind within the 60 days and go with a different plan, are we allowed to do that? And we just need to pass another resolution? Is that the way that would work?
If I may say, the draft resolution I've forwarded over included just putting everything together in one. It was appointing Marsh McLennan. It was going Blue Cross Blue Shield, identifying the difference card. A resolution may be construed as a form of agreement that may meet the test for the township attorney, perhaps. So that's one option if you were amending the resolution and you want it all done in one. That's certainly an option. Just want to put that forward.
Okay, so is there
Well,
any
well,
ramifications if we bifurcate this resolution? Like we do part 1 today and we do part 2 in 2 to 3 weeks?
I would hope next Wednesday.
No, you're not gonna have everything done by next Wednesday, Kevin. It's gotta go through legal review and everything like that.
Yeah, the resolution that we're voting on does not appoint Marsh and McLennan also. It's just withdrawing from the plan.
Correct. Basically, it's part 1 of this biparted document resolution. So I would suggest that we accept part 1, table part 2.
Okay, I have a question. We passed this resolution today for opting to terminate, and in 3 weeks, a month, we decide we want to stay, or we want to rescind this termination clause with state health benefits. Do we have that option?
You do not.
Why would we stay in the 37% hike?
But
Only because what we thought was going to happen didn't come to fruition. And, Murphy's Law, if something bad could happen, it's going to.
Yeah.
So I'm just playing devil's advocate and asking questions.
Well, we have a few other options besides the state.
Okay.
I just want to share with you, you will not have a contract if you wait for 3 weeks from whoever the carrier is, whoever the broker is. And I would share with you, if I didn't think this made perfect sense, I wouldn't sell it with the company I'm working with and policies and things of that nature. It's just something I wouldn't sell. But if you choose in, say, a month to go to do something, do whatever you choose to do, whoever is processing it for you, there's really not enough time before then in January 1st. It's just getting very, very tight. So I'm just giving you a general recommendation is that you don't want to have too much time go by before directing whichever provider is to begin, because basically it's an application process. The policies, the applications go in, and subsequently there will be a policy issued. But previous to that, there would be a policy number. So it may depend on how the word contract is being defined. So if it's a very strict interpretation, I can check with Chris Lowry, but I would not wait. I just tell you, as an elected official and as a BA, I would not wait to make a decision on the direction you go in.
Terrence, didn't you say, I think I asked you this question prior on how long it's going to take to implement if we would go, with your plan, and you said it about 2 weeks.
Right, because I would be in next week, I would submit all the applications, I would track them, and I would make sure that the contract is issued, not applied for, but issued in 2 weeks. like everything's done. So there's an employee application, there are the employee applications, any relevant meetings with staff, affiliated or unaffiliated, and answer any questions so everyone's comfortable. But it would be getting the applications in, and then, and within 2 weeks, approximately, I'm giving an estimate, to have the agreements back. If you wait 2 weeks, everything, it just goes out further, and this time of year is, a bit challenging, as well.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
With the
So,
holidays coming
yeah.
up and
Yeah,
everything
so
else.
if I was directed, hey, we're moving forward, get here next week, get this done, and get this paperwork wrapped up, we would accelerate because we have a team of folks. We have a whole team of folks that would be making sure that everything is done properly and on time. But we would start that immediately upon direction, if it's so given.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, I have one more and then so as part of this new contract, all the employees are going into it. They all go as one package, right? There's not the potential for one employee to be denied or anything. Everybody goes in as one package and everybody would get the same coverage, correct?
Great question, yes.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I'm good.
Eric?
I got nothing else.
Chris?
No, Mayor.
Melissa?
No.
Kathleen?
No.
Zach?
I'm nothing unless the township has any more questions for me.
Okay. Then let's move forward. Do I have a motion to adopt, table, or deny? Or move it?
I'll move to adopt part 1, table part 2.
I'll second, Mayor.
Okay. Roll call.
So this is to adopt resolution 25-188. I didn't get a chance to read it before, so I want to read it so everyone's aware. 25-188, resolution of the Township of Millstone, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, to terminate all participation in the state health benefits program.
Yes.
All right, so roll call, Committeeman Davis?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anything you just said. I
You
got cut
you
out.
need better internet, my friend.
This is to adopt resolution 25-188. You want me to read it or what's on the agenda?
Hold on. The motion is to adopt part 1, table part 2.
What is part 2?
The submission of the contract,
Oh, page 2.
page 2. Eric, did you hear that?
I'm sorry, this interference is bad. I
Let's
heard
come
we're
back to Eric.
motioning to adopt page 1 and table page 2,
Correct.
or
Correct.
something like that.
Yeah, page 2 is the submission of the contract. Page 1 is to terminate the contract to give 60 days notice.
So I'm on your roll call.
He's thinking.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear. I can't hear.
She's asking for your vote, meaning which way do you want to, vote on this?
I vote yes.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Morris,
Yes.
Committee Person Zabrowski,
Yes.
Committee Person Ziner,
Yes.
Mayor Farrell.
I just want to make a statement before I answer this. We have done and spoken about and exhausted our questioning of this to the nth degree, and we've had our financial staff in connection with Kevin do due diligence to try to give us the most amount of information so we can make an intelligent decision on this and come out with the best outcome for our employees. And as Deputy Mayor Morris, had stated, we want what's best for our township, and it does not impact any of the township committee in any way because we don't get, benefits from this. So moving forward, we will adopt a plan, a health insurance plan that will benefit our employees and minimize its financial impact both to the town and to the employees. So I just wanted to put that on record that we take this very seriously and we make sure that we put ourselves in that place, in the employee's place, when we do these kind of things. And though our township attorney has some reservations, I think the best course of action is to adopt this resolution on page 1 to table page 2, and my vote is yes to move forward.
Okay, so the resolution is adopted. Page 1,
Page 1.
which I'll get that processed and sent out. You do have to open privilege to the floor.
Yep. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the public at
12:39.
Is there anybody on this call who would like to make a statement or ask a question? Please, if you do so, identify yourself. We'll just wait a couple more seconds.
Kevin, did you have any emails to ask Millstone?
No,
Yeah, I was just about to ask him that.
I'll double check one more time. No.
Okay. At this time, being that there is nobody online or via email that wants to make a statement or ask a question, I'd like to close out the public portion at
12:39.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Time out.
12:40. Okay, thank you.
Okay, everybody, thank you for this, and we'll see everybody on Wednesday.
You're already on Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Thank you
everybody.
all. Bye-bye.
Bye.